Hello, I'm Ruth Aspey. I'm here with Dr. Barry Grossman, and we are going to be talking today about strategies for helping individuals on the spectrum to deal with wearing masks. That's not something that we have traditionally dealt with in the field of autism, but now it's something that everyone is dealing with, and it's particularly challenging sometimes for people on the spectrum. In our previous video, we talked about social narratives and how those can be helpful, and that's certainly one of the strategies that we can use in teaching people on the spectrum about wearing masks during this time. Another helpful strategy that we can use in working with people on the spectrum to wear masks is sensory strategies. Think of all the sensory things that are involved with wearing a mask. Smell is involved, our sight is involved, the way the mask feels on our face is involved, and actually the experience of breathing itself is a factor with wearing masks, and so it can impact emotional regulation. Sometimes when an individual first puts a mask on, they feel the air entering their body in a different way, and it can lead to a fight or flight response. So helping the individual to be calm before wearing a mask is a very helpful sensory strategy. So let's talk about some other sensory strategies that make a difference for people on the spectrum. One is to allow them to chew gum or to have hard candy. For one thing, that can be regulating in and of itself. And the other thing is it can help the smell of the breath coming back from the mask to be more pleasant. Another sensory strategy is to find other ways for a mask to attach besides behind the ears. So some people tie it behind the head, maybe using something as simple as a shoestring. Others will attach the mask to a headband, maybe with a button. And we're going to show you some links that show some examples of these other strategies for attaching a mask that might be helpful for someone that you're working with who's on the spectrum. Another strategy that makes a difference is to gradually increase the time that the person is required to wear the mask, so that at first it might just be a matter of seconds, and you can gradually build up so that they're able to tolerate it for longer periods of time. And speaking of the length of time, it also is helpful for them to provide breaks in wearing a mask. And I'll bet you that you yourself have experienced needing to step out of a situation and take a mask off for a minute to get regulated so that you can go back and wear a mask again. And we might have to find ways for people on the spectrum to have that option as well. Finally, the individual on the spectrum can be involved in picking the fabric for the mask and finding the one that feels most comfortable for them. Now, Dr. Grossman is going to talk to you about some behavioral strategies that help people on the spectrum with mask wearing.
Right. When first learning to use a mask, we think it's great to model use of that mask. So an adult or a sibling can model how to wear that mask, how to put it on, and also do some of the problem solving, how to get it to fit just right. Ask your child to practice putting the mask on you, or even a stuffed animal or a sibling, right? We think it's also helpful to practice in front of a mirror. And so that way the child can look at himself or herself and can see where perhaps some of the flaws are. And so we have to tighten it up here or center it there or pinch that nose piece if there's a nose piece. And we think that can be a really helpful visual, make it more concrete to be able to see yourself in the mirror, because it's a really difficult, it's a challenging task to put something on yourself that you really can't see. We think, especially when starting to first wear a mask, it's really important to schedule an activity, a low demand activity, something that's going to be easy, going to be very successful. Schedule that, make it predictable, put it on a calendar, use a special symbol so your child knows, this is when we're going to, go on our first outing where we practice using a mask, or even take a picture of your child wearing a mask, and that would be a nice visual to let him or her know that, today's the day or this afternoon we're going to do this activity. Make that outing really enjoyable. We think sometimes it's really helpful to build in a reinforcer, and so one way you could do that is that first outing could be to pick up curbside, to do curbside pickup of a preferred meal, or even order a small toy from a local store that you pick up curbside and have your child wear the mask in the car when you're doing the curbside pickup. The goal is, whatever you decide to do, make sure that the first outing is brief, and your goal is for it to be successful, to give your child an opportunity to wear that mask for a short amount of time, and begin to build confidence that he or she can wear that successfully and properly. It's also helpful to offer choices, like, would you like to wear the Disney mask today or the blue mask today? Offering choices really kind of puts your child in charge, but not really, of course. We're giving the choices, so within these limits. The choice isn't where to wear one or to not wear one. The choice is, would you like to wear this preferred character or this preferred color mask today? Another good strategy is to incorporate the use of video. It's a great learning strategy. We need to use it more and more. And so take a video of your child putting the mask on properly and wearing it. And so before an outing, show your child the video of himself or herself putting on the mask and wearing the mask. Video can also be really rewarding. It gives your child a chance to be creative. I worked with one child who he wanted to pretend like he was making a YouTube video, and he loved it. And so he gave all the instructions, and then he enjoyed watching himself later, even danced afterwards, showing and celebrating his success about wearing a mask. Please be sure to check out the links below for additional resources on wearing masks.